Are y'all ready for round three? Okay, I'm gonna. God, this thing is like an hour long, and I'm only 15 minutes into it. I don't know if I can do the whole thing. Um, Here's the thing. Okay, so before I even like started working with Don, he already had problems, but I didn't know because I was new. I was new to politics. I didn't know what was going on with this dude. Um, he had an entire smear campaign against him that he was raping women on the road. I don't know if that's true or not, but he did tell me a story about how, like, an ex girlfriend from years ago um, claimed that he raped her. And he was confronted in like some sort of like intervention um, with his mom was involved in everything and confronted that he had somehow violated this woman, and he told me he basically ran. He basically ran. So I don't know what to think at this point. I have never made any sort of claims against him. I've never said that anything that we did together was anything less than consensual. It was all consensual. But that being said, I acknowledge and recognize that the way that he behaves sexually is very forceful. And so if you are not inclined to what he is trying to present to you, it's you have very little time to actually make your protests. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so let's go back to the recording so I can react to it. I will share a screen. Let's go. Okay. No, that's not it. Here we go. Okay, this is it. Let's maximize. All right, let's go.
But she said to me a couple weeks later, after we were like, I was like, look, this was not healthy. I don't want any part of this. I probably was not that nice when I said it because I was just like flipping out. And I won't say that I haven't like flipped out on her. But please, I've been pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and just pushed. So, so she tells me that she is going to tell people that I raped her in the hotel room. And
Totally never fucking happened. I never said this. And Dawn, you seriously need therapy.
I'm like, what? Why would you do that? Yeah. And then she starts doing the psycho. Yeah, you did that. And then she starts saying it like it's real, like threatening me, like it's going to happen. Now, this is in text. I have to unblock her on Facebook.
By the way, this dude, after I blocked him because he was not supporting me in my claim against Tim Johnson for stalking me at the KDEM convention, I blocked him. And so he wanted me to get involved in a race in New York so that I would use my social media prowess to promote a race in New York. And he tagged my activist page because he knew he was blocked. And so he tagged my activist page. I literally have screenshots of this. After I had already made a public video coming out about how we had a fling and how he was a dickhead and how he was totally screwing over his wife and me and every other woman in the movement. But he tagged my activist page so that I would promote this race. And the candidate and her campaign actually came out and said straight up, we do not want any help outside of New York. They were purposely targeting Don and saying, like, stay the fuck out of it, dude. We don't want your involvement because you're so toxic. They actually made public statements to that effect because they saw what he did to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez by trying to claim credit for all of her success. And he keeps doing it to this day. He keeps trying to claim success for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez when he contributed very little to what she accomplished. But this is how misogynists do, y'all.
To get into Messenger or maybe I already saved screenshots on my other computer, but I haven't warmed up my other computer in a while. So I gotta take some time to do this. I'm not in a huge rush other than
Bring it, bitch. Bring it, bitch. I will go screenshot to screenshot with you. Let's see how this goes.
I know I have her threatening me with doing this at one point, and she had this whole meltdown again with the same women because one of them actually won't talk to me anymore. She actually believed her. So I would say about 25% of people believe.
Gina Frank is our friend in Nebraska, and she's very rational, progressive. And yeah, she was probably the first person in our inner circle to realize what a fucktard this dude is.
Leave her story, and that's really damaging. I don't need that. Like, I just don't need that. I literally have a viral tweet right now going on about how women can protect themselves by stripping their geo data by using screenshots, different kind of stripping for girls to keep them safe, where they strip their geo data and their photos. See
Wow,
what I did there? Okay.
You're a fucking genius, Don. Like, anybody in the IT industry doesn't know that shit.
Strip their geodata by taking a screenshot of their photo so that way stalkers can't follow them. So speaking of which, so I today kind of didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do because I now have people on Twitter because last night, oh no, let me tell the story linearly. So I had this like meltdown. I'm like, I don't want, any more, whatever. We do Progressive Insider. She threatens me with this like thing that she's going to try to say that basically is what's happening right now.
Totally projecting again. He actually sent Carrie Barber to threaten me because he was taking credit for my work. And I said, hey, if you're going to cite my work, you need to actually credit me. And she said, if you approach me again, I will throw a smear campaign out against you.
We serve her with a cease and desist, or at least I believe she was served with one.
Never fucking happened. I have actually served him with a cease and desist for this bullshit, and he still hasn't removed it.
Then it's mellowed out. Actually, mellowed out this whole time. And then after Progressive Insider, I don't know, maybe 4 months ago, 5 months ago, being the unconsciously weak person that I am, I had one chat message, the Progressive, the whatever the magazine she has, I didn't have that blocked. And so she was sending me messages on that, and I didn't take it well because I don't want to talk to her. I don't want any part of it. She's like basically been stalking.
I literally had a soft spot for this dude and was trying to help him out by giving him some advice. I admit that's my mistake. I was actually trying to help this motherfucker, and look at him. He's like a slimy boat salesman from the 70s. Like, I don't even know what to make of you anymore, Don. Like, I literally tried to fucking help you, and you're trying so hard to like create your fictitious world that it's just amazing.
I've had to block her on like tons and tons of posts. In the meantime, she has come onto things with my entire block list on Facebook is her socks. It's her and like her other 6 accounts. So it's really bad. And then today she got one of my Facebook post banned using her different socks. And
I do not have 6 accounts. I have less than a half dozen accounts, which I use for page management, which he is fully aware of. And he used to actually really enjoy the fact that I had these extra accounts to boost all of our messages. He's totally aware of all of them. And in fact, he has communicated to me. He has sent me a message that he wanted to keep some of those communications open. So he's full of shit again.
That almost got me a 30-day ban where I wouldn't be able to explain any of this. And then she was on Twitter yesterday telling people that I'm like her abuser and turning them against me. And then today I have people on Twitter saying that I sexually harass women on social media.
Well, you do, Don. I'm sorry, but you can't constantly come after women, regardless if they agree with you, if they disagree with you, however they are. But the way that you come after women on social media is completely unacceptable. How do you not see? I mean, well, you're a white dude. Okay.
That's been my last 48 hours. So I've already been dealing with like Canova's stupid shit, Brandon DeGraff's stupid shit, Nico House's stupid shit, Minnie Mesner's stupid shit, all jealous, bitter people. And now I have another jealous, bitter person coming in and telling this awful, and now she's trying to backtrack. So I went to all these chat messages. That I shared with her that I didn't leave. And I messaged everyone what is happening. Because I got an email, I don't know, about the 2 days after I blocked her, that there's a woman who's been making a report on Jenna because she's been falsifying Me Too reports. By the way, that's happening. Heads up.
That's not happening. The only person I have ever claimed any sort of sexual harassment against is Tim Johnson Cotran. I've made no claims against anybody else. So he either is being contacted by one of these other people who are trying to do smear campaigns against me and getting fed misinformation, or he totally made that up, because that is simply not possible. I have not made any claims against anybody but Tim Johnson Cotran. I mean, well, unless you want to include the fact that fucking Victor Fariaris put his cell phone in his pocket and recorded me without my knowledge. But I have not, that's some bullshit right there. So either somebody's trying to fuck with Dawn right now, or he totally just made that
up. They notified me that she had made a claim that I raped her in the hotel room at the convention, right? And then I got a message from someone else who said that they also saw it. So I went into all these messages and like I put that Facebook post up that some of you guys saw. I went into all the Facebook groups. I posted to everyone what I'd heard, what I'd said. Facebook had already told me it's not slander. They had already said it's allowed, it's not bullying. If you have heard that and this person is saying that, then you have every right to say that this is happening.
Okay, Don, if you actually heard that, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that maybe you actually heard that. Let me explain to you that I just had like some criminal ass jackass person staying in my house under false pretenses who claimed he was investigating the Convo couch. He told me while he was here that he was aware of another woman who was pressured into sex by I was not pressured into sex by Tim Johnson Cotran. He just sexually harassed me. But he said there was another woman who was pressured into sex, and it kind of sounded like what he was talking about was Kelly, basically. But I had no knowledge of it, so I didn't buy into his bullshit. But what you're doing right now is you're buying into somebody else's bullshit that you have no idea whether or not it's true or not. And you live in a world of politics and you're just like, okay, I'll just listen to anybody as long as they're against the people I'm against. That's some bullshit, Don. Like, I mean, I rejected it. When he told me, I was like, wow, that sounds really interesting. I'd like to learn more about it. Do you have some proof? Ask for fucking proof, Don.
And so I told everyone what's happening. Now, Robert Leahy, being the literal dumbass, and I don't really do that much, but I just have never met someone so dumb who thinks he's so smart, literally come to her white knight defense and go on about how I needed proof of this claim that she's saying that I did this. But it's in a video that I can't download, that I can't edit. It's literally impossible. So instead, I gave him the links that have come to me recently, which is her posting harassing stuff about me. I linked him to the Twitter where she's saying harassing stuff to people and convincing them that I'm some sort of abuser, okay? That is direct slander in the last 24 hours that is happening that I led to him. He turned around and doxed me. He
did not do any such thing, Don. Oh my God, you're such a drama queen. Okay, for fuck's sake. Robert was the only person who actually stood up for me. He showed up to court both times when I was getting attacked by my stalker. Both times he showed up. Don was supposed to show up, but he didn't. And in fact, When I went to lunch with my mother after going to the first court case and winning the stipulation agreement, Don called us on the way home, and I had to explain to him that my mom was in the car and he was on speakerphone. And so he had to temper his response because he was supposed to show up as a witness that day in court, and he refused to do so because he's such a fucking coward. Robert has always stood up for the right thing. Don's about to go on here and try and take credit for Robert's work. He had nothing to do with Robert's work. I'm going to tell you that straight up right now. He had absolutely nothing to do with it. But this is how Don rolls. He takes credit for everybody else's work.
Around, he thought it was a good idea to go in and get my identity. And he doxed me and threatened my mother.
He did absolutely no such thing, Don. He basically ran a public background check on you, which is totally legal, and then told you, look, this is how much info I can find on you in a moment's notice, and said, if you continue to slander Jenna, I will personally sue you. So yeah, he's a good ally. You're not a good ally. He is a good ally. And no, he didn't share that information with me. And I don't even fucking care where you fucking live or what you're doing with your wife and your child and everything else. Like, if you want to be a bad dad and a horrible person, you do you.
That is literally what his message says. His message literally says, let's get to it. Let's show. I can't show you it obviously because it has like all of my personal information on it. Which, by the way, people are still surprised that my name is Brandon Nelson. I don't know how people. Dawn Ford is a SAG name. I'm a Screen Actors Guild member. I had to change my name. You promote the name. My wife is Lee Ford. I took her name. So I don't understand what is so hard about Brandon getting shortened to Dawn and me taking my.
Leanne Sanford. They both changed their names. These are both stage names.
Wife's name. Like, where are you in your bright little progressive brain going to get down on the other progressive who took their wife's name professionally? Whose good idea was that? Okay, so he has in here my full name, my birthday, all the email addresses that pop up. He has my wife's name. She has her birthday, her email. He has a list of my.
By the way, Don, why do you have so many fucking email addresses? Like, what the hell's going on with you? But okay.
Evictions, the companies that I've had at different times. He is making fun of me for the King of Venice.
How many people have multiple evictions and call themselves the King of Venice? I'm just saying.
By the way, I earned that title, so go fuck yourself. He goes to my mom, threatens her address, talks something about my speeding tickets, okay, saying that I have a $20,000 fine, which I honestly, if I had a $20,000 speeding fine, I would be.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you a bad driver and you're blaming me for a car accident? Is that what's happening right now here, Don? You are a bad driver. You have a record of bad driving, and you're blaming me for your fucking car accident?
Telling everyone, like, oh no, anyways. And then he goes on about, I am not believing a liar. I was asking for proof you refuse to provide, proof that cannot be provided because it's in a video that she has probably hidden. And I'm not going to sit here and watch through her.
There is no fucking video, Don. I have never accused you of raping me, you dumb ass. So yes, it's absolutely appropriate for him to ask you for proof that I've said this, because I've never said it.
Stupid ass video to listen to her say her little bit. Two different people told me she's saying it. She's threatened me with this before. She's tried to pull this before. It is happening.
I can't imagine why anyone in politics would be trying to confuse you right now, Don. Wow, that never fucking happens.
So he goes, you will stop or be served with a lawsuit. This is your one and only warning. I will even pay the attorney for her so you don't back off and stop posting lies, and I will tell your wife and your mother. Sit down, shut the fuck up, end of conversation, Brandon. Right. So, this is what I sent him back.
Where'd you send him back?
I provided evidence to you that she slandered me right now in the last 24 hours. You are ignoring that because it is convenient for you.
Yeah, that's
and then I respond. You just went too far, by the way. No one is going to back you for doxing me like that, which I'm sure if everyone heard their information being read like that, they would be horrified too. Especially when he's just trying to win an argument for my literal stalker. This is the woman I'm calling my stalker.
Okay, I'm not a stalker. I haven't like tried to like show up to his dress or anything. Tim has, by the way. Tim has like actually like showed like sent stuff to my house. Okay, through layers, right? Like he's like trying to mask it through layers and shit. I've never done this shit to you, Don. I've never done a fucking thing to you, Don. Nobody's fucking stalking you. You're just afraid to debate me because you're that cowardly and you fucked up that badly. Robert just is on the right side of things, and he's kind of like, he's like trying to defend me in this moment because he realizes how fucked up you are right now. But this is some crazy ass crap what you're doing right now. This is so crazy. And by the way, I love that you gained weight during the pandemic. Yeah, I'm body shaming again. I apologize. I just love it though. I love making fun of the ex-lovers. I love it. Love it. Love it. Okay, you keep going, gray hair.
He just doxed all my personal information and probably gave it to her. So he is actually...
He did not give it to me, Don. I don't even care. I don't fucking care. I don't want to pick up your bullshit. I don't want to like deal with your bullshit and all your 5 dogs and your multiple cats and your other animals and your entrapped wife that you kept in a marriage during a pandemic and forced to have a baby for you so that she could have her American citizenship. I don't fucking care about this bullshit. Like literally, you are the most ridiculous person right now. And all I'm doing right now by analyzing this video is trying to defend myself and show how fucking ridiculous you are.
Helping my stalker help put me in a threatening situation. Like that is the reality.
Oh, I'm gonna hurt you.
This woman is stalking me, and he just basically got all my personal information and is prepared to hand it over to her. Now, who in the community thinks that this is acceptable? So I go, and in California, I have to grant you access to that data. So you just committed a crime.
By the way, he literally brought an illegal knife on the trip to the CADEM San Francisco convention, which he did not tell me about until the last day when I had to drop him off at the airport. So I had to travel for an additional week with the knowledge that I had an illegal weapon in my car that I ultimately had to mail back to him. Because this motherfucker, for as much as he's claiming victim right now and pretending like he's at risk, fucking left a weapon in my car. Because what is he going to do? Hand-to-hand combat if we're like hijacked on the road or something? Like, what are you even thinking, Don? Like, I can't even with you. So I had to take it because he couldn't take it on the flight. So I had to mail the shit back to him. And he did the same bullshit to me as Tim and various boyfriends, or not boyfriends, they're not all boyfriends, right? Like they're just like weird ass people who are either stalking me or whatever. But a lot of dudes, they like to leave things in your possession so that they have a connection back to you and they have a reason for returning, right? It's a manipulative bullshit thing. And Don did the same bullshit to me. He left things in my car that I would have to return to him so that he wouldn't come back. And I had to fucking mail that weapon back to, it was a knife, dude. He brought a knife on the trip because he was going to go hand-to-hand combat if we got in trouble on the road? What the fuck even, Don?
And, I kind of mocked him relentlessly after that. What I said basically is you need to hope that the server you access that data from isn't in another state, or else that's wire fraud too. So, which is by far the
Background checks are completely legal. There's so many legal services online. You can totally run a background check on anybody. You can totally search this on Google. There are totally legal background check services.
Useless charge you can levy on someone because basically, for example, if Facebook servers aren't in California, any action that I did that was falsely gaining people's identities or anything like that can be considered an act of wire fraud because the server that the information traveled to is in another state.
No, it was totally California. You're full of shit. You always act like an expert. You only have a high school education. You never went to college. You have no fucking clue what you're talking about.
So Andrew, I didn't even, he's so unimportant. So let's talk about Robert for a second. Robert is an interesting little character. He's out here in LA. He came to fame by overthrowing the Veterans Caucus here in California and gave hope that we could overthrow more caucuses. And he did it using a very technical process that I helped him through at a very key point. And he literally had nothing to fucking do with that. He had nothing to do with that, you guys. He did not help Robert in any way whatsoever. What happened is that Robert approached us at the Bernie's anniversary, the Bernie's coffee shop anniversary party. This was the night when the first night that Tim fucking violated me. And Dawn and I were outside talking, and Robert, no, was Dawn there yet? I don't know. I think Donna actually might have approached later. Like, I think I was there talking with Tim and Robert, and Robert was going after Tim because Tim had endorsed I think her name's Arlan or something like that. She ended up on city council for Costa Mesa, but she was part of that original slate that got elected to the Veterans Caucus. And he was able to overturn the Veteran Caucus election and get her ousted. And so he was approaching Tim and saying, why the hell did you endorse her when this shit went down? And Tim was freaking out because he can't deal with confrontation because he's a little guy. He's kind of short, you guys. And he's skinny and short and stuff. So he was a little bit intimidated by this Marine coming after him. I think he was in the Marines. It was either Navy or Marines. I can't remember. Coming after him and being like, why the fuck did you do this? Right. And so Tim is getting freaked the fuck out and doesn't know how to react to it. And so I'm tempering the situation. And I think Don saw what was happening and he helped too. Like, we're like, okay, we're going to listen to you. We're going to figure out what happened here and we're going to try and address this, right? That is literally the entire involvement Don had in what happened with Robert's caucus situation. He did not advise him on actually overturning that election. He had nothing to fucking do with that, but he embellishes so much. He's constantly like extending his involvement beyond what it actually was. I would never claim credit for Robert's success in the Veterans Caucus. I'm more than appreciative that Robert had that success by himself. I don't need to fucking tag along to it. But Don apparently needs to tag along to everybody's accomplishments. And that's why he says he's the father of the movement, because he says that he's connected to everybody's wins. He forgets that. He always forgets that. We had that big chat. He probably didn't even consider it was me. We had this big chat to deal with it. And he would, because I was in like 2 billion of those, and everyone forgets about my addition to those conversations, but I don't. So I pulled him through a particularly sticky moment when he didn't understand how to tackle the procedural issue. And if he had gone left, it would have gone nowhere. If he went right, he would have won. In this case, he went right, he won. And immediately, he forgot. Immediately, this stuff just fizzles out of one end. And that's pretty much all you need to know about Robert Leahy. So right now, I know he is trying to be a good guy. I know he is trying to do the right thing. I know in his mind, this is possibly a victimized person, and it's his job to defend her. Now, here's what's interesting about that. I made that mistake too. I made that mistake in 2018, and it cost me more dearly than any mistake I've ever made. And it was a mistake. I trusted her. I believed her story, and maybe elements of it were true, but the general piece of it was not. And she made a much bigger deal of it than it was. Because at the time, she was really into the guy. She was just pissed off at the end of the day and threw it in his face when it turned out he wanted Fiorella instead of her. That was actually what happened. So,
okay, we'll stop there for part 3. We'll stop there for part 3. So basically, I think part of the reason that Don actually like was grooming me and wanted to have me as his fling is that he actually was jealous that Tim was so into me. I definitely was never into Tim. In fact, I was trying to get rid of him as quick as possible, but it was very difficult for me because I knew how politically connected he was. I knew how politically connected he was. And the minute that I actually did go public with what was happening, I had a lot of political fallout. And Don knows this. He's aware of this. But he's for being 39, he acts like he's still in his 20s, and he just is emotionally underdeveloped. It's a little scary that he's willing to defame women to such a degree when he has the knowledge available to him. He knows that wasn't true, but he's willing to spread that. It's scary that you can trust people. You can think that they're your allies and that they're willing to spread such horrible misinformation about you. I really did. I trusted him. I believed in him. Okay, that's part 3.